Welcome back to Forge TV. We're here to answer all of your questions, your queries, your FAQs to make life with Forge products even better. Now today we're talking about dump valves, some of the more common problems when people fit them, see if we can't help you out in a bit of troubleshooting. So what are the most common problems when fitting a dump valve? So this is a solenoid operated valve, so some of the things that are specific to this kind of product may stop it from working. So here's the basic things to check. So the first thing is, in a lot of these kits come these rubber O-rings. You need to make sure that they're in situation, that they're seated properly, and that they're making a perfect seal. If you don't do that, you could be leaking boost. So it's really important to check that these O-rings are fitted into the little groove that's been machined especially for them. And you've pressed those in. Then you've got the two mating faces will then seal perfectly and it won't leak any boost. On the more modern machinery, you'll find that some of the dump valves are operated by solenoid. If that's the case, you always get that in the kit. You'll also get an OEM style wiring harness. Now listen, when you put those together, you're looking for that positive click. When you get that, you know you've got a perfect electrical connection. If you don't push it all the way home, you may not get the valve operating properly. The next part is very important, it's vacuum tubing. If your kit needs it, it's going to contain it, but it's very important that you check which way around it goes. So in your instructions, it's very clear. You've got your vacuum side and your boost side, so make sure you've got your pipes going to the right part. That's point number one. Point number two is make sure that your hose isn't kinked in the way that you've routed it, hasn't got any leaks or holes, and if it's an older valve that's been on a little while, make sure it's not rubbed or has any damage to the hose itself. If you've ticked all those boxes, you can take those out of the equation. Another top tip on your vacuum lines or your boost lines is make sure if you're using cable ties to route it in the engine bay, don't do them too tightly. Just tight enough to hold it, not too tight so it constricts it, because that can also cause problems. So if the dump valve that you've ordered has got either a boost gauge or a boost tap, some of these will either have a gasket or an O-ring. So you need to make sure that they're perfectly seated once again, there's no splits or tears, and that they're fitting absolutely flush when you bolt them up. So you're trying to get a perfect gas seal in every part of the system. Another problem you can find on certain cars is if it's tuned or mapped, you might find that you're not getting the right resistance from the valve itself in terms of boost pressure. So if it's too weak, it'll actually leak boost pressure away, the car will lose boost. If it's too tight, you'll actually get excessive wastegate chatter. So there's a way to get around that. So what you need there is the tuning kit. Now the tuning kit gives you different spring rates to allow you to fine tune the valve to exactly what your car needs. Now some of the kits already come with one spring in the kit. It's an extra rating, so it's a bit of a heavier duty spring, a little bit more resistance to opening, but the tuning kit allows you to have everything you need to set your car up properly. Now the kit's got 4 springs in it, different rates, and we'll do a separate video which we'll link to show you how to disassemble the valve and put those springs in. But that will solve all of your leaking issues or your wastegate chatter issues. And the final problem we sometimes see is when you get dump valves fitted to either rubber or silicone hoses. In those cases, make sure all your hose clamps are tight, not too tight. Make sure they're sitting properly, making sure they've got totally gas leak free. You get perfect operation. Now on an older vehicle, an older valve, you might find it just needs a service. If you're not getting the correct operation, check the O-rings. If it's a diaphragm type, check those. It might just need taking apart, putting back together. Now if you've done all of that and you're still having problems, don't suffer in silence. Call us, DM us, hit us up on social. We'll do our very best to help.